I'm Jim Lee. I'm a co-publisher of DC Comics. I'm also a comic book artist. And I'm here at Blur Studio, singular, not studios, with Tim Miller, who is the director of the 6-minute trailer, Who Do You Trust? And we're talking about really sort of the backstory and some of the secrets behind the trailer and a lot of the thinking that went into making this really monumental piece. I mean, it's an honor to be here, Tim.
It's an honor to be doing this, sitting here and talking to you about the comics that I grew up reading.
You know, what's awesome about this whole project is, you know, I mean, it started with Geoff Johns' sort of plot outline of the backstory for the game. And I remember he led the synopsis with this quote, "Your future is what you make it," and then he wrote like Lex Luthor. And I love that because it made it seem so real, like, oh, there's a quote from a historic figure. But he really laid out this huge story, and out of all the stuff that's part of the backstory, you went in and picked a sequence that really highlighted the characters and you know, really added stuff to it that really wasn't there. And I thought it was amazing and how you really took that moment in time and made this epic sort of Götterdämmerung kind of thing. So what inspired you to kind of pick the sequence that you did and expand it to the size that you did?
Well, I've always been a fan of last stand moments. You know, it's when people are either at their best or at their worst, is that, you know, crucible in time and when you're facing death. And Jeff's comment there, he had a little piece in the story about the last battle of the superheroes, and they all die. And I thought, just as a fan, that's the moment I want to see. I want to see that moment where Luthor wins this thing that he's been fighting for his whole entire life, right, in the comics, and he finally achieves it. And, you know, does this victory turn to bitter ashes in his mouth, or is it really like, awesome, I achieved everything I wanted to achieve? But I wanted to see that moment and just play it out for all the fans like me that always wanted to see what that could be. And then I knew I could undo it because it was a time travel story.
Sure. And the whole intro with the glowing embers kind of floating, I think it's just so economical to do. I thought it was, you know,
totally, and
it builds up the suspense of what you're going to see. I mean,
and you don't want to, you kind of want to shock people with that first view, and you got to lay a lot of backstory to sort of set it up.
I see Green Arrow.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted him there, and then see, there's Poison Ivy right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
on the right-hand side with the arm.
Got it. Yeah.
It's kind of hidden behind the smoke. I think originally I had Wonder Woman was fighting Solomon Grundy in this first one, and then we thought because of ESRB issues,
sure, you can
do a
little more, yeah,
because we
like
can
a battle droid.
We can get a little more violent. Yeah. So this is Metallo. Oh, also just one more thing on Metallo before, it's kind of hard to see, but she cuts his arm off and then stabs him in the back. And we had quite a debate there with ESRB about saying, no, really, it's a robot. And then you see, this was originally a giant green fist. Right. And it just looked a little silly, so we changed it to ball of lantern energy.
And then enter Gigantus. I love the scale of it there, it's awesome.
Giganta was originally killed by Cyborg in the first script, but then I thought, well, I need to introduce Green Lantern and Black Adam in their battle, so why not give it to Green Lantern? And then we get our first look at Batman. And I wanted to do Batman as sort of the general on the battlefield, and that was his whole thing. Everybody loves to see Batman fight, but he's also this master strategist, so I thought, you know, it would make sense for him to be in charge of the battle, not Superman.
So there's remnants of the Daily Planet.
Lex is actually fighting on top of the Daily Planet building. I'm not sure if people pick it up. That twisted metal behind him is actually the globe from the Daily Planet. I like the idea of Deathstroke just...
he's just like walking around.
The stakes are higher. These guys, you know, it is the last battle and everything, but for Deathstroke, this is what he's used to. And then I wanted to finish the fight with Metallo. Originally we didn't do that, but I wanted to show off how powerful Wonder Woman is.
I just realized she pulls the sword out of his back to cut off his own head. Harley Quinn holding on to his coattails. That counterbalance is awesome. And then that's Robin's cape that she's wearing.
Yeah, it's Robin's cape.
Now there's some fancy running.
This moment was one where I envisioned something a little bit more than we were able to get. I actually wanted to see the lasers sort of frozen in time. We wanted to give Green Lantern his moment. Like, what would he do if he was wounded? And so we had him bind his wounds, and like his arm was broken and he was kind of holding it together with lantern energy.
Just loved how Deathstroke sort of skid along the ground as he falls. Little subtle things like that really sell the sense that it's actually physically happening.
My whole idea with him was he's got to be clever because she's so much more powerful.
I love how the shield is actually segmented. It's not just like this big disc. I mean,
one of the fans said online, why does he do it 3 times? Doesn't he figure out that it doesn't work the first time? Why does he keep doing it?
When things are happening this fast, you do the thing that...
Yeah, well, that was kind of what I was going for. Desperately just trying to get this guy off.
Yeah, hang on, right.
I wanted the idea that he's basically containing all the lantern energy and he's breaking his arm. And so I thought if he could cause him enough pain, maybe he can't concentrate to fend him off. And then my homage to Kingdom Come with Shazam creating this huge explosion.
The idea of a power ring kind of crack like that. Does Batman survive this?
It would have been cool to have a bigger fight with him and Deathstroke, because I think in many ways they're evenly matched. The other thing that I thought made this moment believable, his right arm is broken. If you notice, it's like hanging limp as he stands up. And then here he never uses it, it's always dangling. And then here he can't even move it.
So what's on Joker's chest? Is I'm with stupid button.
I like the idea of a Joker that's a little more serious about his mayhem. You know, he's got a flak jacket on. He's got some serious weapons here. There, it's hard to see where the rocket comes in, but you can actually see Batman hanging back there in the background. And Cersei is a secondary read too, because she's dead on the right-hand side. And then Lex comes in and gets Wonder Woman.
I think this is the first time I've seen him in this armor actually look really badass, and and it looks believable.
From all the noise in the universe, he hears her scream.
And through the silence, the vacuum of space.
The vacuum of space.
That's how powerful Superman is.
And of course, when he hears it, that's the thing that calls him to action.
This is a nice sequence actually to kind of do frame by frame, because as he was coming in, I was like, you see the contrail behind, which is what I was talking about before, and it almost looks like he's flying sideways at this point, right?
He is.
And when he hits, you see all the rubble fly past him, and then you see his cape kind of fly, and then and he's hovering. I thought it was just really cool.
And this flash of green light is for Jeff, because he knew that Luthor couldn't survive a straight shot from Superman, so we wanted to suggest that his shields were still there to kind of blunt the initial impact of Superman coming down. There was that great shot by Alex Ross where his red eyes are coming out, and all you see is the steam in the eyes as he's coming out, and he is pissed. I originally had Black Adam die, and then when you and Jeff came down, you said, we need a little more action for Superman, and we put this Black Adam sequence in because I needed somebody that could go toe-to-toe with him.
Sure. No, it's just, it's great to see him actually in some sort of melee thing, because he's always usually just picking up heavy things and like kind of gently dropping them to earth. You really highlighted how difficult Superman would be to defeat in battle. I mean, just from the distance he closes when he goes from Black Adam to Luthor, it's just like instantaneous, and there's just no way any guy in a robot suit would be able to react to that, and it's just, he's helpless before that kind of
unless you have
fury.
Unless you have some tricks up your sleeve. I realize there's some logistical problems with her mouth being stuffed full of kryptonite, and Woody sensed that, but I just thought the moment was...
No, I don't think I've seen anything like that before.
Superman would be, ready for his tricks, but I didn't think he'd be ready for this.
And again, it's using his obvious connection and caring for Wonder Woman to kind of seal his own doom. Absolutely.
But of course, it was all according to Lex's plans. I really wished I could have milked this moment a little bit more, or the dead Superman, you want to push in on a close-up. But then I thought, as much as I would like to do that from a fan's perspective, from a story point, this is really Lex's moment. Over this cross-dissolve to the future Lex, so here we changed him again, and he's still got the wounds, but now they've been enhanced. His armor has been kind of patched with stolen technology from Brainiac. Again, from Jeff's original backstory, where Luthor had spent years living inside the Brainiac's ship and kind of hiding from them, and he was the last man left alive. The challenge with this long shot here, try and show Luthor as both the penitent and humble, because he realizes he's made all these mistakes, but he's also arrogant still, and try and find that balance between arrogance and I have to fix a mistake I made.
And that leads into the game. It's the genesis of all these superheroes and supervillains towards this master plan that lets us hatch it. Yeah.
Sony.